Tell me, does this describe you or someone you know? An entrepreneur who's owned their business fewer than 3 years. Or maybe you know someone who falls in this category that I describe as the new first-time home buyer. One is, well, the forgotten buyer. And this is the person who has owned a home before, but for the past 3 years, they've decided to rent or to lease a home. And if that's the case, that particular person has earned the rights and privileges to all the products that a traditional first-time home buyer has. Which brings us to the second group, and that's the traditional first-time home buyer. And these people have never owned a home before. And our third group, that's our younger buyers. These will be our Gen Z buyers. And if you know a Gen Zer, chances are you know the parent or someone close to a Gen Z who is now at a stage in their lives where they could financially support this young person in launching their boat into the sea of home ownership. If you know anyone who fits into this category, you're going to want to lean in, turn up the volume, and share this video with anyone and everyone you know who's thinking about purchasing their next place. Today, we're going to unpack the truth, give real life options of what it really takes to buy your next home. Are you ready? Hi, I'm Tracy Sorrell with the DFW Life, and as a realtor, I help people relocate in and around our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I realize the easy part is, finding online the numbers of bedrooms, baths, square feet, and price. And sometimes you get a glimpse into the neighborhood. But the things that are not so easy is really knowing how people move around and learning more about the community, how you'll fit into that space and the place. Well, that's where I come in. I drive around to these different communities so you can have an immersive experience of what it is to live here, how people move around in these particular areas. And if you like the VIP access to the different communities, hey, give me a thumbs up, give me a like. And if this is your first time to this channel, subscribe below, press the bell, and you'll be notified anytime anything goes down around our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And whether you're thinking about moving in 9 days or 90 days, hey, reach out, comment below, give me a call, grab one of those links so we can do a one-on-one consultation so I can help you realize where is the best place for you to create your memories and call home. Now, back to the video. Today in this video, we're going to have a Q&A session and answer some of your burning questions related to purchasing your next place. What we're not going to do is debate the merit of renting a home versus purchasing a home, because I know some people are renting for temporary reasons. But what we all know, I think we can all agree that buying a home is a good idea to start gaining some of that wealth and appreciation that you've been seeing year after year when you've noticed those home prices have been going up year after year. And whether or not you've experienced the appreciation and higher prices because you're leasing a home, trust me, when your lease term expires and you're ready to renew your lease, you're going to feel how much appreciation your landlord has experienced when he or she decides to raise your rent. So in this video, we're going to address some of the questions that you may have even though you're renting right now, because you may have been given some information that's antiquated. Maybe you're in a lease right now, or you're staying put and not purchasing because you're a 1099 employee and someone has told you that as a business owner or entrepreneur, if you haven't had sustainable, profitable income, then you may not qualify for a home. Well, that may not be right. Or maybe you've been told you don't quite have the down payment or the closing costs, so you're going to have to stay put. That's not true either. You're going to realize how much help you can get in owning your first place. Now, here's something that you may have read in the headlines, and that's about the condo lifestyle. I have seen recently where people are saying, hey, you might want to try living in a condo versus a single family home because the price tag on a condominium is lower. Well, if you're wanting that swanky condominium, with the terrace seating and the beautiful skyline, you want to be able to see the American Airlines Center where the Mavericks play from your window and your balcony, but then you're paying a premium for that. And if that's the case, then you may not care much about the fees that you would need to consider if you decide to purchase a condo, which at that point, it may be more to buy the condo than a single family home. And today I have one of my trusted experts, and I'm getting pretty excited, who's going to share practical solutions, options, updates, and trends to help you finance your next home. And we're going to start right now. Hi, Troy. Thank you so much for joining. And I wanted to put this video together because I'm so inspired by the number of comments that I've gotten and emails that I've gotten. People are ready to get out and live their lives, because there were a time where we were just stuck in limbo. To some people, they wouldn't do anything because of, well, the four-letter word, rate. Yeah, that mortgage rate. I think people have just come to terms with they're not as low as they once were, but at the same time, they're not as high as they have been. So now people have just decided, Tracy, you know what? I'm going to continue to live my life in a home. So I wanted to bring you onto this video onto my channel to speak to people who are in the position where they're ready to buy a home. They could be a first-time buyer, and we know the definition of first time does not mean you've never owned a home ever in your life. But right now, people are wanting to know about the different programs out there. So we're going to do a Q&A, and I'm going to hit you with these questions that I know that you're very well prepared to answer.
Let's do it.
Okay. So one of the first ones I get, and this one seems to be a popular question that I'm getting, is, Tracy, you know, this is my first time ever purchasing a home. What type of first-time buyer programs are out there? And I'll be honest with you, I kind of flinch because I'm on the sideline. I don't do what you do every day, all day. But in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I remember when they were really popular, and maybe they have had a resurgence. But in my mind, I think of what kind of strings are attached, because there's nothing free. So yeah, the programs may be out there, but then like I always say, I'm not a mortgage advisor and I don't play one on TV. So your first question would be, what's going on with first-time buyer programs? What kind of incentives are out there? We want to know the good, the bad, the ugly.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do it. Down payment assistance programs are great. Now, here's the downside to down payment assistance programs. They cost more money to get, and the interest rates are set higher because they're obviously giving you money to use as a down payment. So the downside is your interest rate is going to be a little bit higher, and the cost of getting that loan is a little bit higher. But it is a great program if we just don't have all the money we need to close on your home yet. I've got a couple of them working right now, right? So they've got really good credit, but they just don't have a lot of money to put down, right? So right now I'm doing a 5% DPA program. So it basically takes 5% of their loan amount, and it gives them that money, which is going to cover all of their down payment and some of their closing costs. Well, we have a seller that is willing to pick up the remainder of the closing costs. They're willing to pay it. So right now I've got these people coming to the table with roughly about $200 to get into this home.
$200 to move into a home?
That's it. That's it.
Okay. Or if you're thinking about a down payment assistance program or any kind of loan, I would just give Troy a call. I mean, I want you to finish this video, but when it's over, give Troy a call. Okay.
Yeah, so also in addition with these programs too, is that on the conventional or the standard FHA. So let's just say you're like, well, Troy, I've got a little bit of money to put down. I don't necessarily need the down payment assistance because I know it's going to cost me a little more. The rate's a little higher. If you have your own down payment, the seller can also pay your closing costs on either of these.
Okay, and a good time to buy, because the market is shifting a little bit, does not mean it's a fire sale. So, you know, we have to be really strategic in how we maximize the benefit of getting someone to help you out with your closing costs. Because I know what some of you are thinking. I know you've been praying for about 6 years for something to happen. So we want to keep safe, keep praying, but let's just, make sure we got everything squared away. Next question that I hear quite often is, what's considered a good credit score? So kind of tell us a little bit about what we should have in terms of a credit score. And if you can just think of anything, that basic thing that a person can do to just start chipping away at whatever they have that's preventing them from having the score they need to even have the conversation with you. Hey, can we please start looking for a home, and we're ready to get a mortgage together.
The closer your balance on your credit card gets to the limit, the farther your score goes down. It's the number one reason code that we see. Okay. The second one is obviously collections, right? Derogatory collections or something that hasn't been paid. All right. Those are the two main things that we see. Or late payments, the final one, if you've had recent late payments. So the more recent something happened, the more it is going to affect you. Let me give you an example. You could have a $10,000 repossession on a car that happened 7 years ago. You could have a $20 late payment on a credit card that happened last month. The $20 late payment on the credit card is what's going to hurt you. Okay? Because the way credit looks at, they look in time, not so much dollars, outside of, like I talked about, credit card balances to limits. So I hope that helps if you're looking at trying to fix your credit before you start looking at buying a home.
Yeah, I think it does, because people would, let's face it, $10,000 versus 20, my mind is going to think about the 10,000. Right. And not that 20. So I think that is a game changer. If you have a question about anything we've discussed, comment below, give me a call. Hey, grab one of those Zoom links. Let's schedule a one-on-one consultation. I'll get you connected with Troy because he's the expert. I'm going to speculate based on my experience, but guess what? I pivot to the people who know what they're doing because they do it all day. And I can only imagine how flooded he is with updates on what's going on with the mortgage industry. Girl, I just read something today. Like hot off the press, the ink is still wet. And what I'm seeing is a headline that says first-time buyers could really get into the home ownership game if they consider purchasing a condominium. Troy, we did a deal together where we had a first-time buyer, and she was really excited because we were definitely, and many people watching this can relate, looking at what I can afford. What is that number? What is my maximum loan amount? And so with that, because condos for where she was looking in the Dallas area were less expensive than buying a home that she would want to live in that particular area. So for her, condo worked. But there were some things that maybe she and other first-time buyers don't consider when it comes to the condo lifestyle. So because we're working this together, you crunch some numbers, you're like, hey, ring, ring. Hey, Tracy, we've got to consider these things because this might affect her ability to get as much as she wants.
Yes, absolutely. And condos are great. To your point, right? So sometimes you can get the price of a condo, the sales price is less than a house, right? But what they don't disclose a lot of times in condo living is the homeowners association dues. So your homeowners association dues with some of these condominium units are very, very expensive. So even though the price may be lower, it may not be really affecting your payment because some of these condominium unit HOAs can run from $200, $300, $400, $800 a month, depending on the condominium unit that you're living in. So it can get pretty pricey. Also, there's a few more upfront costs whenever you're doing a condo loan because we have to get condo association questionnaires sent up and filled out. Where you start thinking about putting an offer in a condo, you definitely want to check out how much this homeowners association dues per month are, because that will definitely affect your payment.
And what would you say to people if you had to help people make a pledge to not do this while you are waiting to close on your home?
Please don't quit your job. I was helping a client. We were about 90% of the way through, and he calls me up and says, hey, my wife quit her job this morning. Is that going to be a problem? Yes, it's going to be a problem. We needed her income to qualify. So one of the things I always tell my clients is, don't apply for anything new. Don't charge a lot on your credit cards. Please don't quit your job or get fired or deposit a bunch of money that I can't prove where it came from.
Oh, and this is when I say, don't shop for a home you don't own. You haven't bought the home yet. So hold off on that sofa that I know you've mentally arranged that furniture. Just stop shopping.
100%. I'll tell you another quick story. So I had one time, I had to have a guy return a wood chipper that he had bought from Sears. He had bought a wood chipper, didn't tell us anything about it, but when that wood chipper payment came due, it affected his debt to income ratio. It didn't qualify. So he had to go back and return it. And we had to show proof it was returned to get him back into qualified status. I got stories for days. That's just one that came to mind.
where you're able to rescue him, fortunately. Because once you have your family excited, that if you have children who are excited about a move and you wreck this deal, I'm telling you, it's going to be hard for you to be dad of the year or mom of the year once you wreck the deal and they're already planning their pool parties and they're already telling their friends they're getting ready to move. Well, hey, that's a whole nother, we'll have a whole nother video of that. We'll have personal counseling for that kind of trauma. But yeah. All right. So Troy, we know we live in the age of entrepreneurship. Everyone seems to have their own business. And we understand in order to get a mortgage, you do have some kind of trackable income somewhere, even if you own your business. And there used to be, now fill in the gaps for me, Troy. There was a time, and I say was a time because I know mortgages, they change daily, so I don't rely on my knowledge. I always call you anyway. But you would have to own your business, show profitability in your business for a certain amount of time before we can even start really having a serious conversation as far as getting a loan. But let's just say that somebody got really creative with their taxes. It's all legitimate, but they really showed where their business didn't make a lot because maybe they didn't want to have to pay. I don't know. I don't want to go into your lane here.
So say somebody has, they've been in business for at least 2 years. But like you said, they were getting creative on their tax returns and they're not showing as much money as far as adjusted gross income to use to qualify for a loan. Then we would look at something like a bank statement loan for people like that. The bank statement loan is where basically we take their business bank statements and we average out the deposits minus the cost, okay? There's a couple different options out there for somebody like that. But that's typically for your self-employed borrower. It's got decent credit, can put 20% down. That's a really, really good option for somebody like that.
I've had people, especially the Gen Zs, who their parents have been gleefully excited about being able to support their young adult with moving out of their home, purchasing their own home, with helping with down payments, closing costs. Really briefly, what can a person, a parent, or someone close to you do to help launch your ship into the home ownership?
Typically, we do that whenever we don't have enough income, right? We need more income to get their debt to income ratio to qualify for a home, okay? Or a lot of times a parent can just gift them the funds. So they've got the credit score, they've got the income, they just don't have the funds. They don't really want to do down payment assistance programs due to the higher rate, and parents are willing to gift them the money. Totally, we do it every single month where parents just gift them the money for the down payment. We can do that, they can do that for them as well. Now, FHA for us, we require a 580 credit score to have a chance to get approved for an FHA loan, okay? Now, again, the higher your score, the better terms that you get. Now, if you've got really, really good credit, then a conventional loan might be a little bit better option for you if your scores are, say, north of 680, 700, somewhere right around in there, okay? But that's what I'm here for, right? My job is, when you call me, is to go through all this with you. Let's find out what your score is, how much money you have to use, and let me help formulate the best loan program for you that's going to meet your needs.
Okay, and just so to make sure I've heard right, the minimum score for conventional is 680?
No, ma'am. The minimum score for a conventional loan is 620. But with that 620, you have to put 20% down.
Hey, I trust you've enjoyed this Q&A session with Troy, and hopefully it's given you greater insight of the things that you can do, maybe clean up and change and adjust so you can move toward your home ownership. And if you want a one-on-one with Troy, just comment below and I'll send you his information. And if you like having that VIP access, maybe some information behind the curtain that you may not get in other videos and channels, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up so I can keep sending you these things. And if this is your first time to this channel, just subscribe below, press the bell, and you'll be notified. And what I want you to do, if you're really thinking about making that move to your own place, then grab the one-on-one consultation link. Let's schedule a time, comment, give me a call, and let's find out which area in our Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is the best place for you to create your memories and call home.